What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing the Snell golf ball lineup. We did do a review last year, but you know what? It's time for a re-review. We are doing all four models. This is our first quad review, so we have a lot to get to. Sorry if I talk fast. I just don't want to keep you here forever. Let's dive right in. Okay guys, so as always, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. I appreciate all that. If you want to support this channel further, we have a membership. It just starts at $1. I appreciate everyone who supports this channel. So let's go ahead and start off with what Snell has. Real quick, a little backstory. So Snell Golf, if you don't know, Dean Snell is a phenomenal golf ball maker who basically helped come up with the Pro V1. He was on the design team at the time. He has a very big influence of that. This was 25 years ago at this point or something like that. It was a long time ago. And then he actually was on the design team as well when TaylorMade dropped their first 5-layer golf ball, the Penta, I believe, back in the day. Anyway, so he knows what he's doing. Long story short, he knows what he's doing. He decided to make his own golf, ball company called Snell, kind of a direct-to-consumer, take out the middleman. But basically, long story short, they had a lot of issues last year. There were a lot of negative reviews, but now they've had time. They've had a year to fix these, issues. There was some durability things. There was some manufacturing process issues. So now I want to retest them, and I want to say whether or not those have been fixed, and see how the numbers are with our new testing. So getting into the Snell lineup, Snell has 4 golf balls, right? And they are all aimed at a different type of golfer. We start out with the Snell Get Sum. This golf ball comes at a price point of $19.99 a dozen plus shipping, and it is designed to be the 2-piece kind of distance golf ball. Now in the past, this one's been my favorite. I've shot some of my best rounds with it, but since it's switched over to the new factory, I don't know. I haven't tested it, so we'll see if there's any differences. Then we get into the Snell 2.0, and the Snell 2.0 is their 2-piece golf ball, and it's one of only a couple golf balls on the market that is a urethane cover despite only being 2 pieces. Comes in a price point of $22.99 a dozen, and frankly, that's a really good value. Even if you do have to pay shipping on top of that to get a urethane golf ball, a lot of you really crave urethane. You tell me all the time. Well, here you go. This is an option for that, but it is for slow swingers. Snell's pretty, upfront about the fact that you have to be, I think, 120 yards with a 7-iron or something like that, 125. So that's for a slow swinger for sure, but we'll still test it from an average swinger and see if it still works. Then we get to the 3.0. The 3.0 is $32.99 a dozen, 3-piece urethane, of course, plus shipping, like all the other ones. However, this golf ball promises to be that kind of good balance of what most golfers need. If you want to have a little bit of bendability, you want to have some really good distance, yada, yada, all the normal jargon, that's what your 3.0 is going to do. And I did notice the 3.0 this year is a little different than last year. I think they have made improvements to it. They've changed the alignment tool, but we'll cover that in a second. Then we get into the 4.0, which is their 4-piece urethane golf ball. And this one, of course, is going to be for your fast swingers, guys who really swing the club 110, 115 mile an hour, and they want the best performance possible from a golf ball. So kind of an X model golf ball, if you will. So without further ado, let's look at the design of these golf balls, and I'll highlight some differences. Let's start with the Get Sum. All right, on the Snell Get Sum, if we look at the front, that's what the logo looks like. It says Snell Golf. All of them are going to say that. Now, it is apparent that this golf ball looks a little cheaper. You can tell it's more of a plastic cover instead of a urethane. That's quite all right, though. Then you look at the number. It's a red, big number. That's what signifies that it is the Get Sum. And then also, if we look at the alignment tool here, this alignment tool is the only one you'll see like this. It has 3 lines, has Get Sum in the middle. It works. If I hold it up, yeah, you can see it. Cool. Now, if we look at the other ones, the 2.0, the 3.0, and the 4.0, this is what they look like. And as you can tell, there's a little bit of difference there. The ones on the end keep last year's design, which is they have, lines on the outside and the Prime 4.0 and 2.0 in the middle. And then if you look at the Prime 3.0, its alignment tool is actually a little different. It just is a basic kind of old school Pro V1 style, which I do not like. Very hard to see, can't line the ball up. I would have to put a golf dot, or I'd have to draw, permanent marker line, which I'm not a big on. But I don't know why they didn't keep the same as this. I'm not sure, but it is what it is. All 3 of these golf balls, this is what the front look like. Like I said, they're very similar. So it is also worth noting that all those golf balls do come in a yellow as well. So they have white, they also have yellow if you want the high vis color. So without further ado, let's get out to the chipping and putting green and let's see how they do around there. Okay, so gonna start with the Get Sum, and then I'm really interested to see the main differences between the Get Sum and the 2.0, because they're both a two-piece, but that 2.0, like I said, is a urethane golf ball, so it's one of the only few two-piece models that is urethane on the market. So it's gonna be interesting to kind of see how they react. There is a little tiny bit of moisture left on the green, so that might help us a little, but we'll see. Okay, a little firm. Oh, I like that. Look at that, guys, right off the bat. It's gonna be a good day. That's how you know right there. Praise Jesus. Let's go. Okay, much better that time. I hit it pure. There actually is bass effect there. There's some rotation and spin on that ball for being a two-piece iometer blend. I mean, that's nice. It has a click. It has some feedback. Nice. Oh yeah, nice soft landing. That's really nice. I'm gonna run that back. Oh yeah, excellent. I mean, again, it's not a ton of rotation, but it's just got just enough to where it really does help you out. Even if you're a beginner, it's very forgiving. It goes right toward the hole. I love to see that. I'm gonna try to get another one in there. I like that a lot. It's very easy to hit. I immediately gained confidence with it. I got one in the hole. It's really a nice ball for a two-piece. Softer, for sure. Okay, I did see some check up a little more initially, but a lot softer. Nice, low spinner. Oh, wow, right there at the end. I know that was hard to see. I think it was off camera. Right before it went off the green, I mean, it bit, it tugged back. I want to see if I can get that for you guys, because it's impressive. I'm going to scoot back a little and see if I can. There it is. Oh, look at that. Come on. That is nice. Guys, that is some of the nicest checkup I've seen from a two-piece golf ball in a really long time. That's impressive. Let's run it back just for fun, I guess. Come on, come on. Oh, nice, nice checkup. Wow, guys. Oh, I'm completely messed. Oh, it skipped right over. Okay, a little firmer than the 2.0. Wow, holy cow. That had some checkup, good Lord. Let's try it again. Nice. Beautiful, really nice healthy checkup. It was actually a miss hit, but it still did check up a little bit. Nice. That is sexy. There's no way around it. Nice and soft. It has such a nice soft landing, and then it does have that tug and grip when it's hit correctly. Okay, miss hit. Unbelievable. So beautiful, so consistent. Nice. Oh yeah, really good checkup. So none of them are like really better when it comes to checkup. Now the Get Sum had like, you know, not as much as the other three, but when it comes to the 2.0, the 3.0, and the 4.0, they all have like the same level of checkup, but it's really consistent. It's a nice soft landing. It's really entertaining to watch. It's beautiful. It's a thing of art. Wow, a lot of checkup. Low spinner there, had a bass effect. Oh, that's all right. I gave it a good shot. Oh, wow. Okay, a little click. I don't mind that at all. That was actually kind of nice. I heard the wood. You know, that's like the first time I've putted a golf ball in a really long time and heard the wood. You know what I mean? Because I have a wooden putter. I don't know if some of you new to the channel might not know that, but that's nice. I mean, I really like that. Let's try again. Oh, wow. I love... Okay, first of all, it's not going very far. I need to make that adjustment, but I like the sound and the feel a lot. Oh, yeah. Really good roll. I was trying to backdoor it. Let me run that back. Okay, so I will say this golf ball does not have a lot of spring to it. If you're someone who's used to, like, you know, like I just did the super softs, if you barely come back and hit a super soft, it goes boing and it goes toward the hole and it doesn't take a lot. This one actually does. This reminds me more of traditional tour ball, which isn't a bad thing, but just keep in mind if you get it, it's going to take a little more. Like, see, I thought I killed that, and I didn't. That was enough to get there. So that's kind of the difference. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it, it's got a 10 out of 10 roll. Another really good roll. Okay, so same thing. It takes more to get it there. Let me, one more time here. I'm kind of screwing myself by leaving those in front of the hole where I can't. Yeah, see, and that would have went in. Again, 10 out of 10 roll, there is zero chug effect. There is zero, I'll leave the definition of chug effect here while I hit this one so you can know it, but I'm impressed so far. Let's go one more time. Let's get one in the hole. There we go. Yeah, I like that a lot. Wow. And I'm surprised it actually does have a slight feel in the hands. There's some feedback there, which is nice. I haven't had feedback in so long. We're going to move on to the 3.0. That's really nice. Let's see how this one is. Let's keep it going. Oh, man, that is really nice. Has a little bit of Pro V1 vibes in there, a little bit of Maxfly Tour vibes. Definitely has a tour-like feel. You know, Dean Snell's been doing this a long time, and you can tell he knows what he's doing because that feels fantastic. Oh, again, I love that. Wow, just a nice, slight crisp, little kiss, mwah, off the putter face. It's just so consistent. I love it. Oh, wow. Again, actually a little softer. The 4.0 actually feels a little softer, which is kind of surprising. Let me try one more time. Yeah, it is. It's a little softer and a little more muted, which is so strange for, you know, a 4-piece, but it works. It still feels great. It still has a 10 out of 10 roll. I mean, these golf balls are fun to putt with. Oh my goodness, I love it. I don't need to see any more. That's great. So 10 out of 10 on roll on every single one of them. Complete domination there, 10 out of 10 across the board, a clean sweep. Goodness gracious, I hope the blade putter is this good. Oh wow, yeah, that's loud. I mean, that's loud, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, some people like a loud golf ball. That's definitely unique. Again, no chug effect, really great roll right in the hole. How could you ask for anything else? I hear the sound. I don't hear much feedback in the I don't feel much feedback in the hands. It's really smooth. I mean, it really does have a buttery feel. It really does. Oh, I mishit the crap out of that golf ball, and you know what? If that's a mishit from hell from me, I'll take it. Oh, okay, so that's the first time I saw even a little bit of chug effect. It was just a tiny, tiny bit. But it went in the hole, so who really cares, to be honest with you? Yeah, much better that time. It must have just been a miss hit. Yeah, let's just fill that cup. Let's just keep filling it. I love it. I love it. Keep it rolling. I'm getting confidence. It's so easy to putt these golf balls. The 2.0 is great. It has a little bit softer of a feel because of the urethane, not as loud of a click. 3.0, I'm imagining it's going to be the same. Yeah. Little bit louder of a click, not much, a little bit. And then you can feel the feedback in the hands. It's got that Tour feedback again. It's actually very similar to the mallet, which is something I don't see a lot of the time either. I mishit the heck out of that one. Forgave me. Beautiful. Yeah. So again, consistent. The 4.0 for some reason does feel softer. I don't know if it's that added layer in there. I don't know what it is, but it comes off a little more dead as far as the sound, but the feel is still pretty Tour-like, just not as Tour-like. Yeah, but it's still nice though. I gotta say, this is one of the best green performances I've seen in a while, so I'm gonna be rooting for these numbers. I love it. Let's move on to sound and feel. Yeah, definitely. Definitely on the firmer side. Does have some explosiveness, but it definitely feels a little firmer, maybe more firmer than I'm used to also. But, and when I say used to, I mean with the old Snell model, like the old Get Sum, you know what I mean? It was a little softer, I think, but who knows? Again, it feels like I'm not quite getting all of it. Maybe they've converted this into like a 2-piece distance ball for faster swingers maybe because they have the 2.0. It'd be smart, but man, I loved the old Get Some, so I'm hoping the numbers are still good. Okay. All right, not a big fan of the mishit feel. It's probably a 2 out of 5. It stung my hands. It let me know. Really good feedback, but not great. Pure 3 out of 5. It's not bad. It's not what I remember. So I think they have changed the formula a little bit, at least somewhat, because it does feel different. It could be the clubs too, but it just doesn't feel the same. Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, night and day. Explosive power. I mean, it shoots off like a rocket. So huge difference there. Very soft. That's pretty nice. It's in between a 4 and a 5. I'm gonna let this last ball decide. I'm gonna give it the 5. It's close between a 4 and a 5. It doesn't like wow me like, oh my goodness, I've never felt that before, but it's so solid. It has a nice little amount of feedback. It really explodes off the club. As soon as I hit it, I get this Tim Allen grunt face, you know, like I really did something. I'm impressed. That's nice. Okay, it was a mishit by me, not a mishit like off the face, but my swing path was way too far right. Initially, it kind of feels like the 2.0 a little bit, but let's try to get a really good pure hit. There it is. Yeah, no, that's just like the 2.0. It feels very similar. So again, I got to give it the 5. I really do. It feels nice, and there's so much explosiveness. It feels like the golf ball's going forever. So hopefully that translates to our testing. This one right here, I am going to hit off the toe. Let's see how the miss hit is. Much better. Okay. I'll give that a 4. That's pretty nice, actually. It still felt like it had some explosiveness. It still felt like it really shot off, but it let me know in the hands, but just not egregiously. You know what I mean? It didn't take me out in the alley and beat me up. It just said, hey man, dial it down a little. I like that. 4.0. Again, very similar, very similar. It has so much explosiveness. Now, keep in mind, I'm not slowing my swing down like I do when I do the testing. I'm swinging full here, so. Again, just crisp, really nice. Okay, ooh. 3 on the miss hit for that one, but again, 5 out of 5 on the pure hit. Now, keep in mind, when I do say 5 out of 5, these are tough. I usually save my 5 out of 5s for like the really high end, but this one's just so close to that 4.5. We don't do halves right now. We'll do halves next year. I'm just going to bump it up to the 5, but I don't want you to think it's perfect, but it's pretty darn close. All right, time for my favorite part of the review. It is time to talk some data. Let's start with the 50-yard pitch, backspin RPM. As always, we are looking at
an incredibly low launch. So that's the first thing I noticed when I look across the board there. 27, 25, 26, 25. Those are all really, really low. My average right now is around like 28 to 29. So all these golf balls do want to have a low penetrating flight. But as you can see, that didn't necessarily affect the spin numbers a ton. So with the Get Sum, it's just below the average mark at 7,800. And then if you look at the Snell 2.0, this is the one that is truly just mind-boggling. So that's a new number 1. The previous number 1 was actually the Titleist Pro V1X, 8,555 RPM. That beat it by basically 300 RPM, so that's insane. I don't know why that golf ball, maybe it's just the soft urethane cover, but man, it really gripped the wedges. So we have a new number 1 as of this moment, and then the 3.0 held its own, 8,200, which is a way above average. I love to see it. 4.0 is 7,500, but again, I've seen this throughout. I've talked about it through the last few videos. That type of golf ball with a low flight like that, 7,500 seems to be where it's at, and there's been many golf balls that have followed along with that.
Now, that's quite impressive, I will say. So we have a new number 1. You know, the Pro V1X was the number 1 ball in backspin so far this year, but that Snell 2.0, you know, the soft golf ball, I mean, extremely soft, marshmallowy, combined with a urethane cover. Yeah, 8,876 is nuts. And when I was testing that golf ball, I mean, there was times it almost got to 10,000 RPM backspin on a couple of them, and that's just, I don't see that. I don't see that ever. If I get to 9,000, I'm like, you know, boing, you know, I cannot believe that was the total average, 8,876. Just insane. So that's awesome. Snell 3.0 did great. Really, the big disappointment is going to be that Snell 4.0, but that's kind of common. You know, I've seen that with the Vice Pro Plus this year. I've seen that with the regular Pro V1. Other golf balls have been around that 75, 7,600. So I guess that is what it is. You know what I mean? Other than that, all of them launch really low. Kind of surprised there, but all of them actually launch really, really low. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Getting into the pitching wedge, we're looking at
A lot of red, unfortunately. As you can see, there is a ton of red throughout this board, so let's just kind of talk about it one by one. Starting with the Get Sum, low spin, low ball speed. It is firmer, like I talked about, so this is kind of expected, but really disappointing just because, smash factor, distance, a spin especially. With a spin that low, I would have expected to gain a little bit of distance, but just not the case. Then we get into the 2.0. 2.0 had some really great spin, again, not surprising there, but a big loss in distance, a loss in ball speed, and I even swung a little faster too. So maybe over compression. I'm not sure. Usually these softer golf balls like this do really well in the pitching wedge, just because you don't have to swing as fast to fully compress them. But just not great numbers. Then we get into the 3.0. Average on the ball speed, which is really nice, but look at that spin number. You want to talk again about record-breaking performance. That is the highest spin number that I have seen so far this year with a pitching wedge. So phenomenal. 120.4, we lost distance, but I'm okay with the loss of distance because the spin number was so high. I don't mind losing a little bit of yardage if it means that I'm getting a lot of backspin. I just don't like low spin and low distance. That's not a good combination. Then getting into the 4.0, again, really good spin, but that's kind of it. 117 is just one of the lowest I've seen. Just not going to get the job done, unfortunately. Even despite the fast spin, it's just not going to make up for such a low distance number.
Well, I can't sugarcoat it. There's a lot of red there, and it's a little disappointing. Looking at the numbers across, yeah, I mean, the spin numbers are great. And I do want to say something real quick about the Prime 3.0 spin numbers. So, when I go through and I hit 15 to 16 shots and I eliminate 5 or 6 of the worst ones, a lot of the time what I focus on is distance, right? Because I'm going through and looking at all the different metrics. Obviously, if I see one with a launch angle or spin number that's just ridiculous, I'll eliminate that. But when I'm going through and I see the distance, that's kind of my main factor. And what I didn't realize is that this golf ball had many hits that were 8,200, 8,500 with a pitching wedge. Bonkers for me. Insane. Laffy Taffy. Looney Tunes. I mean, nuts. I deleted those because the more backspin you have, obviously, the more distance you lose. And so when I deleted them, I kind of realized, oh, crap. So here's the reality. The 3.0 still has the highest spin number on the pitching wedge I've seen this year. And I accidentally deleted too high of spins. Insane. The spin on the 3.0 is insanity. If you want the golf ball to fly straight, if you want it to rip back, boing, boing, come right back at you, that 3.0 is something else. Now, you are going to sacrifice, of course, the distance. I lost a couple yards with it. That just comes with the spin. Let's go ahead and get into the 7-iron. Let's see how that does.
And it looks like some of the red is starting to be switched out for greens, thank goodness. Starting with the Get Sum, a much better performance, which makes me kind of breathe a sigh of relief because I was getting kind of worried there, I'm not going to lie. Go out of green, though, orange, or yellow, when it comes to the spin. So a mid-spin, great ball speed, great distance overall, a great smash factor, awesome, love to see it. 2.0, again, I lost distance, but really good spin. So I'm okay with a little bit of distance loss, but that's a lot. That's like 5 or 6 yards on my average. So, and that smash factor is really, really low. Then getting into the 3.0, again, green in the distance, average smash factor, average ball speed, a little bit lower spin, but not too bad. It'll still hold a green. So the 3.0 is still kind of trucking along, doing the bare minimum to get by, but hey, it's in this game, absolutely. It's doing some pretty cool stuff, so I don't mind that. Then we get into the 4.0, and this is where I'm kind of flabbergasted, just to be completely honest with you. I see red, 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 red across the board. Now that 111.9 at the top is yellow. That's a mistake by me. 111.9 should be red because that's actually the lowest ball speed I've seen for a 7-iron performance this year. The previous low was the AVX, and it was like 113.8. So that's significant. That's not just the bottom. It was like, no, hold my beer. I'm going to be the worst you've ever seen. And I just don't get that. I really don't. It's been low throughout this whole process, and it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of pop behind that ball. We'll check the driver numbers to see, but overall, at least we're getting some green. Let's move on. Let's hope the driver's a little better.
Okay, so the Get Sum does kind of redeem itself a little bit, so I'm glad. So I wonder if they firmed that up a little bit. I know it's a distance golf ball, but I almost wonder if they firmed it up just a little. Maybe the new factory has a different cover or something. But I like to see that. Yellow in the spin, green in the smash factor, green in the ball speed. Awesome. Love to see that from the Get Sum. And then again, I'm disappointed in the 4.0. I mean, I'm looking at that 4.0 number, and I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. That's some of the worst I've seen this year, and maybe we'll look at the driver. Maybe with the driver it'll be a little bit better, and if the driver is better, maybe it's just too firm of a golf ball for me. Maybe it's intended for the fastest swingers ever. We'll see, but right now, not looking good. Let's get into the driver. Let's see how those numbers are.
You know, I've never seen such a crazier, stat chart when it comes to the different colors, right? A lot of the time I see some similarities, but this thing is just all over it's red, green, blue, white, all over. It's just insane. Starting with the Get Sum, again, this is supposed to be a distance golf ball. I think we have figured that out at this point, and the 7-iron redeemed it, the driver redeemed it, and an excellent smash factor. Seriously, you look at that club head speed. I was actually swinging a little slower on average and got fantastic ball speed, fantastic distance, green across the board. That spin number, I know it's in the red, but it is barely in the red. Barely, barely, barely. It is so close to being in the yellow, so it doesn't bother me at all. Then we get to the 2.0. Look, the 2.0 is for slower swingers, and if you want a golf ball like this that's a two-piece urethane, you're going to sacrifice distance, and I think that's pretty much been proven at this point from this test. It just hasn't had any pop off the club whatsoever, despite the fact, feel-wise, it did feel like it had pop, but just, not there. Then we get into the 3.0, and this is where the 3.0 is really going to make its money. This is a fantastic performance. Distance-wise, it's the same, but way better ball speed. Maybe not as good as smash factor, but still, it actually has way too high of spin. I'm not sure why that happened. It's a high-spinning golf ball. We know that, but maybe a little too much spin on the driver. I might have to manipulate the swing if I was to play this on the course, but still, really good performance there. And then the 4.0, this was its really last hurrah, and it was its last chance to really prove itself. And again, loss, red, bad smash factor. I just got nothing there, unfortunately. I was really hoping that golf ball would have around 144 to 145, and it missed the mark by quite a bit. So we'll talk about that in a second. But overall, I'm glad the 3.0 did so well. The 3.0, I think, has solidified its position here as a golf ball worth trying out 100% for a lot of guys who need a budget three-piece urethane.
Again, the Get Sum, it proves why I like it so much. I've always loved the Get Sum off the tee. Really great performance there. 2.0, again, just same thing. I don't need to touch on it anymore. Look at the 3.0. Really solid driver performance. A little high on the spin for my liking, but distance-wise, smash factor-wise, ball speed-wise, all 2 thumbs up here. When it comes to the 4.0, I don't know what else to say. All right, let's get into accuracy and dispersion, and let's get over to those charts, and let's see what we're working with here.
Yeah, starting with the Get Sum, this is pretty solid. 50-yard pitch, a lot there in that little tiny circle. Then you get to the pitching wedge, and pitching wedge is okay. It's probably the worst of the bunch, and even though it is really consistent, it's just all over, right? There's really not any similarities as far as where the ball was falling. Then you get into the 7, and 7 actually has, if you take away the 3 to the far left that were pulls, those 6 that are right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right in the middle, that's awesome. So really good accuracy there. Driver, same thing. If you take away 3 pulls, you've got 6 or 7 others on the right side that are just all right there in the fairway in the center. So for the most part, this is a really good performance. I'd call it like a 4 out of 5 when it comes to the dispersion chart. And when it comes to the 2.0, really the only thing I see initially that kind of concerns me is the driver. If we start over there at the far right, the driver is kind of all over the place, especially with the distance. The consistency isn't as good as I would like. Accuracy is not bad. It passes. But when we get into the 7-iron, again, you have a couple, 1, 2, 3 that were, maybe pulls or caught a little bit too much of, maybe caught a little too pure. But the rest of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all right there in that little circle, that's fantastic. And that's kind of what I look for. Same thing with the pitching wedge, in the purple there, all really tight, awesome. And then same thing with the 50-yard pitch. You have 1 or 2 that caught a little too much and 1 that was a little short, but the other 7 right there in that little bunch are fantastic. So overall, that's a really consistent golf ball. I definitely, again, would give it a 4 out of 5. Really, it would be a 5 out of 5 if it wasn't for that driver, so that's just kind of disappointing there. But everything else as far as your short clubs is going to be great. Yeah, really good stuff here from the 3.0 also. So starting with the 50-yard pitch, you have 3 that came up a tad short. Those could be mishits, but look at the other 7. They are all right on top of each other. That's beautiful. Pitching wedge, it looks like there was 3 pulls, but again, if you take the pulls away and you go to those other 7 or 6, that are right there in that little tiny circle, you got like 4 on the bottom and 2 on top. Excellent. And then 7-iron again, I don't like the distance dispersion. It looks like sometimes I caught it a little too nice and sometimes it It just came off a little short, so I'm not big on that. But accuracy-wise, it is fantastic. And then driver, if you take away the 3 far pushes, and just do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that are all right there in that left side of the circle, or I guess the up part if you're looking up and down, it looks great. So, I mean, there's a lot to work on here. It definitely has some bendability. It has a little bit of tour likeness to it, but overall, I love the accuracy, and distance dispersion could have been maybe a tad better, but as far as accuracy goes, man, it is right on, especially when it comes to the wedges. Well, I got to give credit where credit is due, and when it comes to the 4.0, you know what? It may not get crap for distance, or spin in some cases, but my goodness, it is definitely an accurate ball. If we look at the 50-yard pitch there is like 8 or 7, dots all right on top of each other. You can't even tell where they begin and end. Then you get into the pitching wedge, and that's one of the tightest dispersions I've seen from the pitching wedge all year. And then we get into the 7-iron, and again, you have one pull way left. But other than that, everything is just right there in the center. I mean, that's throwing straight up darts. Then getting into the driver, although there was some distance dispersion, that's okay. If you look at the 1, 2 that I pulled left, there's 8 out of 10 that are right in the middle there. That's probably some of the best accuracy I've seen with the driver of the year. So accuracy is a 5 out of 5. It's fantastic. It is tops. But distance dispersion, I would call it, a 4 out of 5. It's still very close, but, we can't overlook how the performance of the golf ball was, but I also don't want to shortchange it. I mean, this is fantastic. This is a great dispersion chart. So, who knows? I guess if distance isn't everything to you and you really just need a fantastically accurate ball, you could play this, but I think there's a couple other balls that also did really well, but also had the performance metrics. It's just such a shame because the 4.0 really could have had something here based on this dispersion chart if those performance metrics had just been a little better.
Now let's get into durability. Now when it comes to the Snell golf balls, durability last year was a huge factor. The paint was chipping off. Every golf ball, I'm pretty sure, just got a bad score. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. So this year, let's see if there's been any improvements. Let's start with the Get Sum, okay? Looking at the Get Sum, if we look at the side I hit over and over, it's looking a little rough, I'm not going to lie. It's got lots of gouges out of it and cuts and slits. I do give it a little grace because I hit it over and over there, but still, that's really rough. You could not putt this golf ball anymore. It's not going to fly straight anymore. Being nice, I would say that's probably, I would say a 6 out of 10 is being nice. It's close to a 5, but I think a 6 out of 10 is being nice just because the rest of the golf ball looks so nice opposed to what I just sat there and hit over and over. But still kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. It's a distance golf ball. It's a 2-piece. It's on the cheaper side, so that's fine. 6 out of 10 is not the end of the world. You're saving some money. If we look at the 2.0, and I'm looking at the 2.0, I got to say, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. This golf ball, it does look a little rough on this one side, but if I feel it, it's not too bad. It actually survived it pretty well. Looking around the rest of the golf ball, it looks great, feels great, still has a great shine to it. I have no problem calling that an 8 out of 10. That's really nice, and that's solid. For a 2-piece golf ball like this, a lot of the time I don't get the results, especially with the softer urethane type ones. They just usually don't last. This did really well. I'd say it's close to a 9, but just barely gets the 8, but that's solid. Looking at the 3.0, this is the side I hit first. It's looking a little rough. Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the urethane's gone. And that's the other thing, too. The coating on the 3.0 is not very thick. You can feel that from the factory. So that's why it came off pretty quick, and it's looking really rough there. But looking at the rest of the golf ball, it still looks really good. It's solid. I give it a 6 out of 10 again. It definitely just kind of checks the box. It's not going to last you probably more than a round, but that's okay. You're saving some money, so maybe it's for people who still lose 1 or 2 a round. But overall, not bad. Then we look at the 4.0, and again, 4.0 has, some issues there. There is some paint flaking. It's been hit over and over on that side. It looks really rough. It feels rough to the touch. There's even other areas of the golf ball, if I look around and feel, that are kind of scratched up too. This one is a 5 out of 10. This one definitely is not as good as the other ones. A little disappointing in that regard. But here is the silver lining. Here's some good news. That's way better than last year. That's really my main thing, was I wanted to see if it had improved from last year. And last year, I mean, if you didn't see the review from last year, it was like after 15, 20 shots, the ball was flaking up. The paint was flaking off of it. It was really bad. And so this year to come back, even though they're only 6 out of 10s, it's not great. An 8 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, it's better than last year. It's an improvement. I think most of those golf balls will get you through a round, which is great. That's all you can really ask for. And compared to how it was last year, where you had to use 3 balls a round, it's a big improvement. So they've at least ironed out a little bit of it. So in conclusion, here are my recommendations as far as each golf ball, who they're for, whether or not I recommend them. Starting with the Snell Get Sum. This is actually kind of interesting here because the Get Sum has, I think, been upgraded to a pure two-piece distance golf ball. It's for faster swingers. I mean, you could see the pitching wedge wasn't that great. When we got into the 7-iron, we started to see improvement. When we got into the driver, we saw some good results. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Callaway Warbird, right? We just talked about it on the very last review, and I said there's not a lot of golf balls that I recommend for fast swingers that are a two-piece distance golf ball. Keep it straight, keep it in the center. This is another thing we can add to that arsenal. It's another, tool that we could add in our tool belt. It's going to be a great option for people who, want to support a direct-to-consumer, who, swing really fast, who's still kind of a higher handicap. Great option there. It has a great performance off the driver, and overall, it gets the job done, especially when you get to those mid-irons, long irons, and woods. Then we get to the 2.0, and listen, the 2.0 is simple. If you're someone who swings very slow, 75 to 85, I'm not ready to say 90, I'm sorry, but anywhere in that range, and you want a really soft golf ball that has a urethane cover and you get the most spin possible, here you go. This golf ball spins like nothing I've ever seen. And now granted, with me, I was over compressing it a little, so yeah, I probably got a little more spin than the slower swinger would. But regardless, this thing is a spin monster. So you're going to see a lot of really good results. And you're also going to get a really good touch and feel around the green because of the urethane cover also. So keep that in mind. When it comes to the 3.0, this is, if you're a Snell fan, this golf ball did have a decent performance. It was okay. Really, the 50-yard pitch, that's what I like to see. The 7-iron, it passes. The driver was great. It's not a great all-around performance. I think Snell still has a long way to go with that, but there's been improvements made, and it's still a solid golf ball. If you're someone who's still trying to find their three-piece, this is something you can put on your table for sure to try. Snell also does offer a trial pack. You can try, the tours. You can do 2 sleeves of the 3.0 and 2 sleeves of the 4.0, or you can do 1 sleeve of each like I did. The Get Some, the 2.0, 3.0, you can try that as well. So it's an option for golfers. It's definitely worth a shot. The 4.0, doesn't get a recommendation at all. It's so hard for a golf ball just to not get a recommendation from me at all, because it's always for, there's always a market, right? I always try to find the market, even if it's niche. I can't accurately say that it's for anybody. I can't say it's for fast swingers. I can't say it's for, I couldn't get any decent results. And it wasn't just any decent results. It's the worst ball speed I've seen with the 7-iron. It's, abysmally low with the driver. Spin numbers aren't great, 50-yard pitch. Just across the board, there just isn't a lot. I had the worst durability out of all of them. There just isn't a lot I can look at from the 4.0 and say, oh yeah, use that one. Unfortunately, no, it's just not going to get one today. So, all right, guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Thank you for your time. I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.